Hey everybody, this is Jose Blasco here. I was on mute, so that's why you probably didn't hear my voice. Please, let's have a quick sound check before we begin the session. Could you please confirm that you hear my voice before we start? I think it should be fine, but again, I would like to have an extra confirmation. Very good, wonderful. Okay, so let's begin the session, everybody. Welcome to the session, special session, isn't it? First session of the year. 2020 in front of us, and the markets opening in 30 minutes. Love it, isn't it? Anyway, let's begin. Welcome to the session today. Today is the 6th of January 2020. My name is Jose Blasco. I will be your guide, and I am guiding you into the world of intraday trading today. So we are doing a get-together session for short-term trading purposes. We'll be looking at opportunities to be executed in a pretty efficient way, in and out quickly. We'll be looking at the lower time frames. We'll be looking at futures markets. We'll be looking at forex markets as well, and exploring all those different types of opportunities. Okay, but before we start, as always, we have a disclaimer. I will read it quickly so we can start. Disclaimer: the following videos, clips, demonstrations are for educational and instructional purposes only. Tradictive provides these videos purely for the purpose of demonstrating a method of using the product. Users understand and agree that all the content used in the video is purely for demonstration purposes only and is not a guide and does not provide any indication or prediction of actual results. As a user, you understand and agree that hypothetical results obtained through a demonstration do not indicate in any way the results you may receive on using our products. And here we go. That is the formal introduction for the session, and we are ready to begin. And here's our beautiful TradeStation. Okay, and we also have here ready to be used our beautiful trading view with the charts and the time frames and everything else. And again, ready and eager to begin. Okay, so looking at your comments and messages here on the chat box. Yeah, very nice to see all of you guys here for sure. Super happy New Year to everyone. And again, super appreciative of you guys being here and working on all of this together. Teamwork, as I always say, isn't it? Cool. So let's begin. Anyway, where do we begin? We begin with TradeStation. The setup I have here, you've seen that before. As a quick summary for the ones of you that may not be familiar to our sessions, on the left we got futures markets. You can see here the 15-minute time frames. Then we got the 60 minutes and then the 240-minute time frame. So we are talking about lean hogs, natural gas, Japanese yen futures, crude oil, gold, euro contract, Nasdaq, and S&P 500 futures. Those markets happens to be very liquid. There are more. You could certainly have on your end other markets or more markets or both, and it would not be wrong. Okay, now know that on my end, I have them sorted based on their liquidity, and the higher the liquidity, the lower the time frame I allow myself to go. So that's why you would see S&P, Nasdaq, Euro contract, gold, and crude oil with a 15-minute time frame. Where now, when we dive into Japanese yen and natural gas, where the liquidity is just a bit less. I mean, it's not a bad market to trade at all, but liquidity is not exactly the same. So then now we are dealing with the 60 minutes, and then for the lean hogs, it's 240 minutes. Again, there are many more markets out there that could be traded, but this certainly, I would say, is good enough. Okay, in the middle part, we got the majors, okay, and spot forex, in this case not futures. So we are dealing with the 60-minute time frames for the majors and also the 240-minute time frames. All of these would produce opportunities for intraday trading. Some of them very active intraday trading, some of them less active intraday trading, but still intraday. So those are the opportunities. And then on the right, we are dealing with the minors, okay, which most of them are going to be cross pairs. The exception would be the US dollar, Sing dollar, which is not a cross pair technically, but is a minor in the sense of their liquidity. And again, based on liquidity parameters, we are shooting for climates of 240 minutes minimum. Could you go lower than that? Yes. Would it be useful? Less useful, if you wish. And since we got many markets spread it across the screen I am displaying at the moment, I would say that's probably a good way to do it, even though you guys on your end could have certain variations of these type of setups, and it would be absolutely fine as well. Okay. Anyway, so what are we gonna do? Again, I'm kind of summarizing certain things that most of you know, but first session of the year. So again, some of you may be attending for the first time and so on. So everybody's on the same page. So we are looking for the golden color. Okay, the golden color means that there is a potential opportunity to be confirmed with the chart, to be confirmed with the use of the technology, auto UFOs, auto climate, etc. But at least there are certain parameters based on the climate that already tell us we got a possible opportunity ready to go. Okay, so near means that price is near to a good entry or potentially near to a good entry. Sensible means that you are not entering too late. This to have a little bit of a contrast, and you see the difference. We have the word hopeful, where hopeful would mean that you are entering too late. Okay, you are entering too late to the party, and you're hoping for the party to last much longer than what statistics would suggest, which sometimes happen. But obviously, from a probability standpoint, sensible trades would be of a higher quality when compared to hopeful trades, right? So normally we are looking for the golden alerts with the word sensible. And the last one I want to mention is that you don't want to see the gray box. For example, here with crude oil, we have a gray box and then it says near sensible and it's golden color. You would say, okay, let's go for it. But again, the fact that the box here on the left is gray color means that the climate, it's partially defined. In other words, not confirmed. And therefore, again, probability would be lower. It would not be a crazy trade to be executed. You still have some odds in your favor, but it's not the ideal setup we're looking for. And therefore, we are looking for the fully colored, either ruby red color or the fully colored sapphire blue color indications here on the red screen. Okay, so quick summary here, or maybe not so quick, to re-summarize what we're looking for. Okay, so now with this in mind, what do we have here? Where we got natural gas giving us a near sensible opportunity with the blue color, no gray. Okay, so what are we gonna do? Well, we're gonna open the chart of natural gas. Okay, so I'm opening now the chart of natural gas. And once the chart is open, we will go ahead and plan the trade if the trade happens to be valid. Now, natural gas belongs to the group of commodities, and we always talk about how commodities, metals, etc., are futures contracts that very, very often change their expiration date because contracts expire and new contracts are traded. So in this case, we always want to develop this very healthy habit of coming to this website or others. In this case, I'm using barchart.com. Get into the future section, click on natural gas, NG. Okay, and we can see that the suggested symbol to be traded is the NGG20, right? And it's always a good exercise to confirm below that the greatest values for open interest and volume do coincide with the G contract, okay? Because notice the next contract got very good liquidity, but the best is the one highlighted, which happens to be the G that was also suggested here on the top, okay? So what do I want to do now that I know that to trade natural gas, the G is the right expiration date? Well, I'm just gonna make sure I got the G, and notice that the last time I opened these charts, which probably was sometime last month or something like that, when we did a session together, with natural gas. So the last time I saved this particular chart, which I use when we do the sessions together, I save with the letter Z19. I need to change that to be at NGG20 as we just discussed. Okay, so I'm reloading the whole thing, and with all of these properly reloaded, now I will be able to plan for a trade, assess if the trade is valid, and if so, go for it. So what do we have? Okay, so we have climate, thick blue dot confirming what we already know thanks to the red screen. What else? The climate is supposed to last by 5.29 candles. Current candle is number 3. In other words, we are not late to the party. That's why we had the word sensible instead of the word hopeful. Muklis, if it's looking blurry on your end, I would suggest that you click on the bottom part of YouTube and you look at the settings wheel. You click there and you can change the resolution and just pick HD because I'm streaming full HD 1080p. Okay, so make sure that you have the right setting on your end. Very good. Everyone else is okay, or is it looking blurry to anyone else? If you guys could confirm, that would be great. But again, normally, most of the cases, that would be the issue. Okay. Got it. Perfect. Okay. So what are we doing? We have the climate that is confirmed. Therefore, we are ready to go. We have the average price. It's 2146, 2.146. That's what we're looking for. And knowing that, okay, 2.146 would be located somewhere here on the left. We don't have any green UFO at this price, okay? Looking at the middle part, 2.146, It's more or less the top of this UFO, but that UFO is just a little below, isn't it? 2.145, okay, 2.145. So it's almost the right setup, but not exactly what we need. And what about this one here? What is the top of this one? It's 2.145. So, it's a shame because, I mean, certainly we can observe this and maybe there is a setup. And let me explain what I mean by maybe. From an entry point of view, the current price is 2.49. If price drops down to 2.145, which is the entry, as you can see, isn't it? So this average, which is currently 6, may become 5, 2.145. And therefore, you would have a situation where the moving average is being enveloped by the UFO, which is what we're looking for. So we may have a trading opportunity here, but we will need to watch it because I'm a little unsure if we will have an overlap or we won't. In any case, I'm going to say we are not going to take this trade. Some of you are probably already guessing why, but let me explain it because, almost there with that middle chart, okay? Almost there with that middle chart with an entry on the top and a stop below, right? But what's the problem with the right chart? The problem with the right chart is that those two UFOs are overlapping each other. So your stop will need to be located below 2.125. In other words, the distance from entry to stop is going to be quite humongous. And it's not like it's going to be wrong, but at the same time, again, let's say your final target is very far, so it's not wrong, but at the same time, then your safety target would be located very far away. Remember, your safety target is located 1-to-1 from entry. So if your entry to stop distance is very large, then your safety target is going to be located very far as well. And therefore, what ends up happening is that the safety target does not act as safety anything. It acts as a target, and therefore we are losing the feature of safety that is so useful and as the name suggests, safe. So because of that, we would pass on this trade, even though the setup it's basically there. Okay. Notice now that price is entering the UFO. Actually, the average is 2.145. So actually, the entry would be valid. Okay, and you may see a bounce, okay, because of the climate and the on-field orders and everything working in your favor. You may, but from a risk management point of view, I will need to get my stop all the way here to 2.124, which is a pretty wide risk to be taken. And again, that is not convenient, okay? And because there are more markets, so we are just gonna move into the Euro contract. No, not that one. The Euro contract is not good. Yeah, in the futures market right now, we don't have anything to trade because we do have a sensible opportunity, but this gray color. And I was looking at the Euro contract. I look at it too quick. It's blue, right? It's blue, but it's we don't have the golden color. The crude oil is giving us the golden color, but crude oil is also gray. So now, no issue. 2 minutes from now, okay, 2 minutes from now, we're going to get an update, or 1 minute and 45 seconds, we're going to get an update on climates, and we may have a new set of settings here, and therefore we may be ready to plan a trade. But right now, I don't know, and I'm going to have to wait just for a minute and a half, okay? Very nice. Good to see you, Edward. Very nice to see you. Perfect. Okay, so let's go for the middle table as we prepare ourselves for that update in 1 minute time. So what do we have here? The US dollar Swiss franc is giving us a near sensible short. So we can certainly check that one. Also with the 4-hour time frame, US dollar Swiss franc and US dollar Canadian dollar also giving us sensible short. Okay, so let's prepare ourselves for Forex. Okay, let's prepare ourselves for Forex. I got my setup with a 60-minute time frame below here, and I'm gonna click on US dollar Swiss franc. Okay, and I also have here with my second tab on my browser. Okay, I have the 240-minute setup. Okay, and same story. I'm gonna also load US dollar Swiss franc to see which opportunity would make more sense, the 60, the 240, or maybe none. Okay, we need to explore to find out what's best. Okay, now it seems to me that we may not have much time left to plan this trade given the time, and since it's going to happen in just 20 seconds or 15 seconds, I'm just going to wait for the update on the climate, which is going to happen a few seconds from now when we reach 9:15 New York time, and let's see if any opportunity in the future market show up. We'll go ahead and plan it. And if it's not, then it will not be. And if it is, then we're going to be looking at it and ready to go. Okay, so notice how new sensible, new golden lights just appear. But finally, notice how all those climates happen to be gray color. None of those climates are being defined. So at this moment in time, we don't have a market setup that is powerful enough for us to plan a trade. Again, it would not be crazy that you plan a trade on these markets, given the fact that you have a red color or blue color on the right side. But again, the gray color represents a non-confirmed climate, and therefore probability is less than what we normally like. Again, it's all coming down to your rules. Okay, if you want to be more active, you could certainly take those trades. But from a conservative point of view, which is my approach during the sessions, the steps that I've been leading you to, it's to not to take those trades and just ignore the setup and just wait until the proper setup shows up. So we're gonna do that. Okay, natural gas, it's still the one setup that is giving us a valid entry, but again, would not be valid because of the depth of those UFOs, as we said before. So nothing to be done for now in futures, and therefore we are gonna go ahead and complete what we were going to do, which is to look at the Swiss franc and the Swiss franc in the 60-minute time frame, and also the Swiss franc as well in the 4-hour time frame. So let's begin with the 60-minute time frame. So what do we have? So what we have here with the Swiss franc, okay, what we have here is we have a climate, okay, where currently Swiss franc is going down by 6.61 candles, that's 7, where currently 6, where this climate is supposed to last by 7. Okay, so in other words, we are still on time to enter this trade during the current candle, which has 43 minutes to go. Okay, so the trade that we potentially end up with by looking at this particular setup is a trade to be taken during the next 43 minutes. Okay, and if it's not taken, then it's to be reassessed afterwards, after 43 minutes. Okay, so let's see if we do have a trade or not. And right now we can see the average price located at 0.9698. Okay, that would be the average price. And notice how, and we can see that clearly on the chart above, this is lining up perfectly with that UFO, where there's been already a reaction to it when price came and kissed the bottom line for the UFO band, and from there started falling down. So that's nice, and it's a good sign as well. And therefore that could be a good entry. Okay, so yes, everything looking good there, everything looking good. Okay, so we do have a valid entry. Okay, and therefore the next step in our process, okay, again, let me flash it very quickly for everybody in case you forgot, since it's a new year. Okay, I'm just joking, I'm sure you haven't forgotten, but again, just to be visual, what we do is we look at the climate we just did, and from there we look at the final target. Okay, and after we look at the final target, then we go plan the entry. Okay, those are the 3 steps. Okay, climate, target, entry. Okay, so we got the climate. Okay, so the next step is the target. So I'm gonna maximize the 60-minute time frame and turn on AutoUFOs. And what I'm looking for now is AutoUFOs where to buy, which is gonna be the UFOs to be used for target purposes. And I'm just gonna make a note for myself, okay, of where the green UFO is, which is 96.716. And because that's going to be a buy order, remember we have to round up. So 71.6 would become 72. We round the pip, right? And the pip is the 4th decimal place in this case. So it'd be 0.9672. We round up. And because it's a buy order, we need to add 2 pips. So the target would be 0.9674. That will be the final target for this particular opportunity. And with that in mind, we are now coming back to the entry time frame, which is the 8-minute time frame, to complete the plan of this trade, which I would like to write down using a Word document, so you get to see all the parameters of the trade, so you can take a screenshot and even execute this trade with whatever size you decide to use in your trade. Of course, that's a personal preference, but certainly the opportunity would be there. Okay, so we have a stop loss on the top, a short entry below. We have a safety target, same distance, isn't it? And then all the way in the bottom part, we're gonna have the final target, okay, which is the one I just said which is 0.9674. Okay, good. You have a sensible short on the YM, Brian. Got it. I don't have the YM on my table, so I don't see that one. But certainly that's a valid approach, 100% with a UFO on the EMA. Got it. Got it. So Brian, if you're gonna take this trade and execute, just keep us updated on that, if that's okay, on how is it going, and if there is any learning lesson or simply a good experience on your end, just let us know, and we'll be happy to kind of track how it went for you. Okay, Brian. Wonderful. So now we got the final target all the way down at 0.9674. We talked about that. The entry, okay, would be located at 0.96984, which is this particular UFO. And we need to round. And because it's a red UFO, it's a sell order, so we need to round down. So 96984 becomes 9698. Okay. And then we need to have our target located at 0.97023. Okay, and that's going to be a stop loss, so it's going to be a buy order because it's a short, it's a buy stop, isn't it? So we need to round, and we need to round up, and once we round it up, okay, and this is when it's going to be a little funny, which I was noticing that earlier, you'll see. Now we need to add 2 more pips because it's a buy order, so that's 9705, and then we add the breathing room that we add for our stops for decentralized markets, which in this case is going to be 5 pips, and therefore that brings it up to 0.9710, which notice, that's the funny part, not sure it's funny, notice that this brings us up to 0.9710, which happens to be the next UFO. Okay, in other words, I cannot have my stop inside of another UFO, and therefore I'm going to have to put my stop above that one, which is above 12.2. And therefore, I'm going to have to do the same exercise, round up first because it's a buy order, add 2 because it's a buy order, and then add 5 because it's a stop. And that would be the location for my stop. In other words, I got 22 pips of risk, okay? And if I was to bring a calculator, okay, and I calculate 0.9720 minus 0.9698, which is the 22 pips I just discussed. If I project that price point below the entry, which is 96.98, this is telling me my safety target should be 0.9676, which notice how this is basically where the final target is. It's only 2 pips distance, okay? And even though you would say the trade is valid, because it is valid from the point of view that the safety target happens to be prior to the final target, well, the reality is that what's the point of remove the risk of the trade to only make 2 additional pips. Okay, so in other words, if you were to take this trade, it would be kind of recommended to close the whole trade at 76, and that's it. And then it would be a trade that would be quite poor from a performance point of view, and it's not wrong for you to execute. You have probabilities on your end, but at the same time, it's not amazing at all. So we're gonna go ahead and reassess this trade with a 4-hour time frame to see if with the 4-hour time frame we got a more powerful setup to be utilized, and if so, then we'll execute in the 4-hour time frame, and if not, it's okay. We don't force trades. We'll just go find another currency pair that gives us a better opportunity where all the parameters are well in place. Ray, I have a different climate in USD Swiss franc with Oanda. I guess it's normal because of the decentralized nature of the spot forex. Yes, Ray, you're right. This is the tricky part of spot forex, that sometimes different brokers have slightly different feeds, but sometimes slightly different feeds may affect, for example, the closing price, and therefore the average, and therefore the climate, and sometimes you may have different climate. And the way to deal with this, Ray, is to just stick with one particular data feed and not to switch back and forth between data feeds. The one I use is FXCM. If you use Oanda, is fine. Sometimes we'll have different information on the screen, and that's okay. As long as you use always the same, and as long as I use always the same, you'll be mechanical, I'll be mechanical, our action both will be a consistent action, and that should lead to consistent results. Okay, and that should be our priority, without looking for, so which data feed is the one I should use, which data feed is right, which data feed is wrong. Well, guess what? They are both right. They are both wrong too, because sometimes you may have more on-field orders with Oanda, sometimes you may have more on-field orders with FXCM. I'm sure you wish too, that we knew that information. We don't know. Okay, so it's all about then having a statistical approach to your trades and just stick to the same type of approach, same type of process to be mechanical in your execution. So quick look at futures before I jump into into the other trades. Yeah, so a little bit of golden showing up here, but everything is gray. We'll have an open for the US markets in a little less than 5 minutes. 9:30 a.m. New York time is the open, as we all know. So it seems that we may not have anything relevant in the futures markets until then. Okay, and until then, we may have to run a little bit. Okay, so you guys be ready when the market opens to begin, the trading with a little bit of speed of movement, because when the market opens, normally things happen quite quickly. Okay, especially now at the beginning of the year. If you wish, today is the real trading day of the year, first Monday of the year. So last week, some people may have been on vacation still, but this week, most countries around the world, they are fully operational, and we should see, a decent amount of volume coming in. Okay, so let's look at the US dollar Swiss franc. Okay, let's complete that one. So with the US dollar Swiss franc, we got 4 candles into the climate. The climate should be 5. So you still have 3 hours and 33 minutes to go with that particular one. And that would be candle number 4. So you still have let's call it almost 8 hours for you to still be okay executing this trade if the trade was met. The average price here happens to be 0.9704, and 0.9704 happens to not to line up with anything. You see? Well, actually, it does. It does. Notice the range time frame. Notice the range time frame. We got 97.05, and I'm gonna say this is good enough because, of course, when the price of the US dollar Swiss franc goes up to 0.9705, the moving average, which is called moving for a reason, will move up, right? And as it moves up, it will move from the current price, which is 04, to maybe 05 or 6, something like that. Okay, and therefore we will have a beautiful confluence where the moving average is being enveloped by the UFO. So we're gonna call this a valid entry. Okay, notice that this UFO also overlaps this UFO, and if I keep moving higher, notice how the two UFOs on the right, okay, are overlapping. Like for example, 0.9712, for example, are overlapping with that one. 0.9712 is right here, right? And then if I do my math, 16 plus 7, right? That's gonna be overlapping with that one here, isn't it? Yes, it does. And then we got 25 and 7, that's going to be 32. So way too much overlapping. It's going to be a humongous risk. Okay, so it's a very similar setup to what we saw on the natural gas. The only difference is that this one is to the short side, where the other one was to the long side. So we don't have a valid trade with the US dollar Swiss franc, and therefore the next one I believe was the US dollar Canadian dollar. Okay, that was still showing up here as a valid trade, near sensible, etc., etc. Okay, and by the way, 0.0, which means we are exactly where the average is. Okay, so this, if we were to have a UFO, it's time to enter. So do we have a UFO here? No. Okay, so we have no UFO on the left, we have no UFO on the right. So really, I don't even need to look at the climate. I know the climate is fine. I know it because of the red screen, 4 out of 6. But really, there is no UFO. That's the issue. Now, having said that, don't give up. You have 3 hours and 31 minutes for the climate of the US dollar, Canadian dollar to potentially change or continue. And therefore, during those 3 hours and 31 minutes, in the 21-minute time frame, you may have new red UFOs to form around this current price, which is where the average is. And therefore, next thing you know, half an hour, 2 hours later, you may have a tradable opportunity. So don't give up on this one. But as we speak, there is no trade for me to plan and therefore to execute. So we just go for the next one. And normally this process, when you do it, you just go speed of the light, isn't it? I'm just using a lot of the time to give you all those different explanations, okay? So anyway, we have 9:29 and 27 seconds. Okay, so 30 seconds from now, the U.S. market will open. We're gonna potentially change another. We're gonna see potentially changes in the climates for the futures markets. So I'm gonna let that happen. See if there is an opportunity in the futures. Go for it. And if there is no opportunity in the futures, then we'll switch to the other markets and continue planning on trades. Brian, the YM kept falling and the EMA is below any current UFO. You are canceling your orders. Very good. Well done. Well done, because a few seconds from now, you'll have a change of climate, right? Or a confirmed climate, with a change of the EMA. So your trade needs to be reassessed. So well done, canceling the orders and restarting the whole thing. So what do we have? Okay, now we only have two gray boxes. Okay, so we got more climates that have been confirmed. Unfortunately, the golden colors that we have are only with the gray boxes, so we cannot go for euro contract or the gold contract. We cannot do those. And for the other ones, crude oil happens to be very stretched. The Nasdaq happens to be very stretched, and also the S&P is pushing pretty hard. It was 0.6 a minute ago, but it's 0.8 now, so it's pretty stretched. Okay, so just to kind of anticipate if a trade was to happen, I'm just gonna open the S&P 500 chart just in case, because remember, things happen very quickly, and the S&P happens to be the closest to the average. So in case that's what was going to happen, I want to be ready. So what do we have? And here we go. Things are happening. Okay, so we have one dot in the climate, so that's good. Average 3217.47, and those UFOs are on the other side. Okay, so notice how we are having reaction to the UFOs. Okay, notice how we are trading at the price where the EMA is. Remember, the EMA may be a source of new on-field orders added later on. So we may see new UFOs form around that price as well. At this moment in time, we are not seeing the confluence we need. If you had taken this trade, you would have seen yourself in profit for a little bit. Now you would see yourself a little bit in a loss. So again, we didn't have a setup that was being met, and therefore the trade was not taken. So now the question will be, in the next 14 minutes, will we have the the S&P drop hard again, giving us UFOs here that allow us to re-enter a trade, or with the S&P start moving higher, and therefore next candle in the 15-minute time frame will have a change of climate? Okay, I would say it looks like that, because now we can see evidence of buy on field orders entering the market. But we're not going to take this trade at all, because then that would be fighting the climate, which statistically speaking is still red. So we just need to wait to see what happens. Let me see. UFO, what do we have here? Yeah, nothing else is showing up. I want to check again natural gas. Yeah, so well, you see, this is what I told you, that out of this UFO that was lining up with the average, we did get a nice price movement. If you had taken this trade and that below UFO was not there, you would be out of risk, and it would be very nice. But if you had taken this trade, okay, you would still be halfway into reaching your safety target, which is not nice from a safety point of view. Okay, so nice to see the trade could have worked. Nice to not to be in the trade either, or I should say as well, because the trade would carry too much risk, isn't it? So yeah, so just we just need to wait for this to define itself. Right now, the trade does not meet our criteria. Okay, so we're just gonna go back to Forex, looking for other trades and execute that. Okay, and I'm gonna take a look at your chat box too, because some of you have been typing, and unfortunately, I have not been able to catch up with your comments. Let me see. Got it, Ray. I see your comment. Very nice. Yes, Brian as well. Mark, natural gas is ready. Well, again, I commented on natural gas, isn't it? So that would not be the one. Alan, I don't have something set right. I don't have but one auto climate market, the Japanese yen. Also, I notice my screen stats are not matching yours, Jose. I'm not sure what I'm doing wrong. Well, then if you have the time to get back to me later or whatever. Yes, absolutely. Well, basically, if we have different stats and different information on the screen, it's just because we're using different settings. Okay, so from a information point of view, those Japanese yen, natural gas, lean hogs, I did type this manually. So go ahead and input yourself manually whatever market you want to use. That's the first thing. And customize your window. I have 3 radar screens. If you only have one, just copy window. Okay, right here, edit, copy window, and then you can edit, paste window, and magic, you have another red screen that you can move to the right, to the left, and you can add other markets, other time frames, and you can customize all of this. Make sure you watch the recorded videos in the YouTube channel under sharpening the videos called climate, okay, auto climate. So you would get to see how I build all of this, and you can replicate for yourself with your own rules and your own markets. Okay. Second thing about stats. Well, my stats here, which I have disabled at this moment in time. But if I was to activate my stats here, okay, so my stats, which are now set as false, I could make it true. My stats are made of using 618, 0.618. That's my calibration setting. And in this particular time frame, I am using 89 candles. Okay, so if you were to use the same values as I do, then you would have the same stats. If you are using any other value, maybe you have 2 days or whatever, so then you have different data on the screen, and therefore you will have different values as well when it comes to opportunities and performance stats. Okay, so make sure you have all of these the same. But again, there is a collection of videos, Alan, in the YouTube channel that you can go ahead and watch. I should keep going with the markets. Okay, there is trading to be done. So today is a trading day. So anyway, what else do we have? We have the euro. Euro in the 60-minute time frame is giving us a near sensible long opportunity. So let's go take a look at the euro in the 60-minute time frame and see if we can catch this trade or not. Okay, so what do we have here? So yeah, so climate 7 out of 5. Okay, 7 out of 5 in this case. So okay, so is it right to take this trade? Yes. What was the rule that we use? Okay, well, we use the statistical value for the up move in this case, because it's an up climate, blue colors in it, which is 4.94. We take that 4.94, we round it up, which is 5, and then we take half. So how much is half of 5? It's 2.5. So now you add 2.5 to 5, and you end up with 7.5. In other words, up to 7.5, we are okay taking this trade. Currently, it's 7. Okay, 7. So you still got 22 minutes plus another 30 minutes from the next candle. That would be the amount of time you would give yourself for you to take this trade. But remember, because we surpassed 5 and we are into 7, so it's okay to take the trade, but only with half of the size. You will not use full size, meaning that if your risk management rule is to risk 1% per trade, in this case, you would risk 0.5% per trade instead of the full 1%. Or if your rule is to risk 2%, then for this trade you would risk 1% instead of 2%, because we have surpassed the statistical value that I was referring to, and therefore we are not really late to the party, but I'm about to be late to the party. Okay. Good. So I'm going to pass on this one, and hopefully I can find other trades of a little bit of a greater quality. That depends on the market, of course. So US dollar, Canadian dollar, not valid. US dollar, Swiss franc is not valid. We checked that before. The next one here, the US dollar yen, that one is hopeful, therefore is not valid either. So we are moving into the cross pairs, and here I can see the US dollar, Sing dollar. It's an opportunity for us to go long in the 4-hour time frame. So let's go for it. 4-hour time frame, looking at the minors, US dollar, Sing dollar. Okay, and we're having a climate here. Okay, but now notice how the dot is thin. It's not a thick dot, it's a thin dot, and therefore this climate is not confirmed with the data I have in TradingView. Okay, and by the way, Ray, a minute ago you were talking about how the data from Oanda was different than the data I have from FXCM at the time. In this case, I am using Oanda too for the US dollar, Sing dollar. Well, guess what? The TradeStation data that is feeding the radar screen is also different than the Oanda data that we have in front of us. And therefore, even though here it shows us a confirmed climate, it's not gray. When we look at TradingView, we can see it's not confirmed. It's a thin dot instead of a thick dot. And therefore, the trade will not be valid. We need to wait 3 hours and 20 minutes. And next candle, we may have a thick dot, and then we go for it. Okay, good. So what else? What else do we have? Wow, amazing. All of this is not confirmed. US dollar, Sing dollar, we just talked about it, and what we have below is hopeful. Okay, so we're gonna have to look a little deeper into the opportunities, okay, because certainly ready to be taken. We don't have much. You know what? I'm gonna look at the GBP Swiss franc. GBP Swiss franc is 0.53. My alert gives me the golden light when it gets to zero point 0.5. Okay, and now it's 0.5 and it's 0.52. Okay, I'm not gonna care about GBP yen because the GBP yen, it's you can see it here. The GBP yen is not. This keeps moving, obviously, so it's not confirmed. Okay, so I'm gonna look at the GBP Swiss franc in the 4-hour time frame, which is not giving me an alert yet, but is about to, being very close to the average. Okay, so what do we have? Oh, look at that. Murphy's law, my friends, twice in a row. TradeStation is giving us a confirmed climate, but the data I'm getting in this case from FXCM for the GBP Swiss franc, it is not agreeing with TradeStation and is giving us a thin dot instead of a thick dot. Okay, so what do we do as traders? Okay, well, very simple. We don't care and we go for the next trade. Okay, don't get upset, don't get emotional, don't start thinking any, don't start developing any negative thought about the fact that you are using a little bit more time in your trades that you would like to. It's not under our control. We need to accept that fact, and the market will give us opportunities when the market chooses to. Our job is when they meet our rules, we take them. When they don't meet our rules, okay, without losing the smile on our face, we go find the next one, okay, and that's it. So the only two opportunities here again with golden is the one I just checked: Swiss franc, GBP, and US dollar, Sing dollar, which we already commented on that. So I'm just gonna keep looking at the ones with the word sensible, okay, and the only ones with the word sensible are the Aussie New Zealand dollar and the GBP CAD. Okay, they are a little far, 0.78, 0.80 something, so they are a little far from entry, and it's not ideal to plan trades when entry is far. So I'm looking as well into the ones in the middle, 0.80 for the pound, and it's hopeful, so that one will leave it alone. Oh, here we go. We got a new opportunity with the euro US dollar with the 4-hour time frame. We did not have that earlier. It's confirmed and it's near sensible, so that looks good to me. So let's go ahead and take a look at the euro. The euro is the major, and we'll go for the euro. Let's see if we could have a good trade here. Let's see if that is possible. Okay, so what do we have? Confirmed climate, here we go, thick dot. So 2 candles out of 5, so that's very nice. We are on time indeed. Average price is located at 1178. As you can see very, very, very clearly, it's right in the middle of this UFO. So this is certainly a valid entry. This is certainly a valid climate, and therefore we're going to be looking at targets to see if this trade could be taken. Okay, hopefully we don't have the same thing that happened earlier with the Swiss franc, and we do have UFOs located in a position where we don't need to merge too many of them. Okay, and we can enter a trade shooting for a target located at 112.16.2, which, because it's a sell order, when rounding down to the 4 decimal place where I just said it, we actually round down. We don't round up, we round down because it's a sell order. So 112.16, that would be the final target. It's not so far, okay, it's not too far. So I'm a little concerned that we may have a situation with too many UFOs here overlapping each other. Okay, but again, instead of overthinking, let's just look into it with no rush. Okay, so what do we have? Okay, what do we have? So we have 111.81. So you know what? Let's write it down. That's going to be the best way to do it. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and write it down. So the first thing that we're gonna get for our trade is where the final target is, and we just said it is gonna be 112.16, isn't it? Then below, okay, we're gonna have the safety target, okay, but that one I don't know where yet. Okay, so I'm gonna have to come back to this later on. Then below that, we're gonna have our entry. but our entry will not be short. Our entry will be long, so it's going to be a long entry. And below the long entry, we will have a stop loss, isn't it? So stop loss right below. Okay, let me make this a little more visual for you. Here we go. So remember, the trade on the top is for shorting purposes. Okay, I'll make this highlighted in red. The trade in the bottom is the one we are planning with the euro right now, which is to go long. So I will highlight it with the green color so you know it's long. Okay, so long. We're gonna use that UFO, which is 1.11819. Okay, and you see that on my upper left chart, isn't it? Because it's a buy order, we're gonna round to 82. Because it's a buy order, we need to add 2, so it's gonna be 84. So that would be the entry. Stop loss will be located below that UFO, but no need to do the math. Those two overlap. Okay, so I'm gonna use 63. Okay, so if I use 1, 11, 63, 2, and I round it down because it's a sell order, it's a sell stop, isn't it? So that would be 111.63. If I subtract 5, that's going to be 58, and that is overlapping. Actually, yeah, it is overlapping with 60 and 57. 58 is in the middle. Okay, so I'm going to have to use 57.2. So 57.2, that would be the location for, that would be my reference point for the stop. I need to round because it's a sell order. I round down to 57, and then I'm going to have to add breathing room of 5. So that would be 52. Okay, and that is not nice to see because we are in a situation with lots of distance between entry and stop. 181, 84 to 111, 52. I'm not sure what I said, but anyway, it's 32 pips. Okay, so if I add 32 pips to 111.84, that brings my stop to be exactly where the target would be, which is 1.1216. So it's almost like a copy paste of the short trade we earlier had with the Swiss franc, but now with the euro. Somehow not a big surprise in the sense that the euro and the Swiss franc are normally inversely correlated, but really it's really like a copy paste, okay, if you wish. So and not good for us to execute. Okay. In any case, good news in the futures markets, we do have a proper alert now with crude oil, golden, and red color. So let's go ahead and open the crude oil chart. And again, because it's a commodity, guess what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna load my bar chart, isn't it? And I'm gonna be barchart.com. I'm gonna be looking at energies. I'm gonna be looking at crude oil, and it's suggested to use the G. Okay, it's always healthy to look at the table to make sure that these greater values do correspond with the G. So now that we know G is the symbol, notice the last time I used it here on the sessions, it was the F. Okay, so I'm gonna have to change this to CLG20. Okay, and as the chart reloads, we will now be ready to plan the trade. Okay, so I guess you are guessing why I was kind of shaking my head a little bit, isn't it? Look at this very fat UFO. Okay, again, distance from entry to stop is going to be very wide, like 30 ticks, and that's going to kill the trade the same way we discussed earlier. Yeah, one of those days, I guess. I guess it's talking about correlations. Okay, there is a correlations. There is a direct correlation. I don't know if that happens to you, but there is a direct correlation with the amount of wish, the size of the wish when it comes to you are eager to trade, and how difficult or challenging the market will make it for you. Okay, I'm not sure if there is any theory about it, but sometimes it feels a little like that, isn't it? And it seems to be the case today. We have a UFO that just formed here, 56, 58, but that happens to be below 64, which is the average. So 64 certainly is going to be here. That UFO starts at 59, and yeah, and again, it's way too wide for the trade to be taken. Okay, again, patience pay. So just watch this, because if crude oil keeps falling a little bit, 11 minutes from now, okay, we're going to have an update on the climate. The average will move down, and now the average, instead of 64, the average may be lining up with that UFO or that UFO or both, okay, and not lining up with the left UFO anymore, and therefore it's not going to be a fat UFO anymore, and therefore the trade setup would be valid. But for now, we just need to keep using discipline and a professional approach to trading, and say no to this trade, even though climate and the UFO is likely to push price down, but we cannot benefit from that. So quick look at natural gas to see if anything has changed. Nothing has changed. We're still in the same situation. Yeah, nothing has changed. Same story. The S&P has changed climate as it was looking like with such a push. But again, we are too far from the average price to plan on a trade, so no golden color. The S&P is 1.72 ATRs away from the ideal price, and therefore it's too stretched, no time to enter. So we are back to Forex. See what we've got available there. Let me see. Also, I'll take a look at your comments on the chat box as well. So what do we have here? Dirk, you've got stopped out of the YM. Got it. So I am guessing that you are still in a down climate and you got short, and then you have a change of climate to the upside. I guess that's what it is. Bojan, Alan, if you're in the Telegram or Discord, I can help you to make sure everything's right. That's very nice of you, Bojan. Thanks for that. Muklis, Jose, why isn't the setup time frame at 15 minutes climate earlier? I'm sorry, but I'm not sure what you're referring to at this moment in time. I wish I seen your message earlier. Would you mind to kind of rephrase it maybe, or give me a little more detail, and that way maybe I understand better what you meant. Alan, yeah, Bojan, I can do whatever. Yep, that's nice. Mark, I see Canadian dollar Swiss franc as a good sensible short. Okay, so let me see. Canadian dollar Swiss franc. Which time frame were you looking at, Mark? You were looking at the 4-hour time frame? Well, you know what? You have a point, because sometimes you have the gray boxes and then we don't look at trading view. And just like we have seen that sometimes with the gray box, trading view will invalidate the trade later on because of the difference between the data feeds. The opposite could happen too, where you see the gray box with TradeStation, but then you look at trading view and it's a confirmed climate. Okay, well, in this case it's not confirmed. Okay, in this case we do have the same information on trading view and TradeStation. Notice is a thin dot, is not thick, it's thin, and therefore it means the climate is not confirmed. Okay, so we need to be careful with that. And always make sure that we see what it is instead of we see what we want. Okay, so we gotta be disciplined at all times. And again, human errors happens to everyone. It happens to me too, of course. So no, not even need to say, isn't it? But we need to be careful, because sometimes, again, I mentioned earlier, to be eager to trade, right? We want to trade. We are traders. The last thing you want to do is sit on your hands, but really, this is how you make most of the money, not taking the wrong trades. So it's important that we just trade what it is instead of we trade what we want. Okay, so if the climate is not confirmed, then it's not, and if it is, then it is. You have no gray on the Canadian dollar Swiss franc on TradeStation. Wow, that's very interesting. Let me update. Okay, so I updated. Okay, I hit on my keyboard Control R to reload and refresh, and notice that even by doing so, well, now here we go. So now I got again the gray color. So I guess that either on my cache folder or on your cache folder, Mark, maybe some data has been has got stuck, or what I would say is more likely is that maybe instead of using the same interval as me, which is 240, maybe you're using a different interval. That could be another mistake, that this also happened to me. So make sure that's the case, okay, and then you should be fine, Mark. Got it. Got it. And guys, sometimes it could be that we have, TradeStation has, like all brokers, like TradingView, like TD Ameritrade, like interactive brokers, like, you name it. It doesn't matter which broker. So they have multiple servers located in different parts of the world. And when you connect, depending on your geographical location, you may pull the data from one server, and there may be data corrupted. There may be a problem with the transmission. Who knows? So what's the final filter? The final filter is our human eyes. Okay, our human eyes, where then you go to TradingView, and now you're looking here down here, and you're like, okay, it's a thin dot, so it's not confirmed. Okay, so keep that in mind at all times. Okay, now what I do see is that we just got an alert for the euro pound. Okay, euro pound just give us an alert. Okay, the euro pound just give us an alert. So let's go take a look at euro pound. We also have gold. Okay, so I'm gonna start with gold. Gold is giving us an alert here, so let's take a look at gold. And again, remember, metals and energies. I'm gonna go check bar chart. This is a practice that I'll be doing every single time we're in the session together. When I trade my accounts, of course, I've checked that ahead of time. I know the contract, I know the expression, but I want to do this process for you so you never miss it, okay? Because that would be very problematic to use the wrong expression date, okay? And you can see G is the right letter as well for gold, okay? So I'm going to make sure I got the G, and I do, okay? So now I'm ready to go. So what do we have? Climate is down, okay? Confirm. Okay, so we have a thick dot. Okay, so confirm climate here. Okay, average 1577.1 and 77.1 is right here. So this UFO qualifies as an entry. So it goes from 770, right? Yes, to 78.8. It's actually a pretty wide UFO. Okay, again, it's not ideal at all. Okay, and 78.8, it's actually coinciding with this UFO here, which is 78. Okay, so well, good news is that our stop is going to be there, 78.9, right above. Okay, and 78.9 will also be between those UFOs, so at least we don't have an overlap with that one. Okay, so let's go for it. Okay, let's plan the trade with gold. Okay, so we're gonna add the target, so activating AutoUFOs on the 15-minute time frame. Yes, here's the target. So GC target would be 1573.4. Okay, 1573.4. That would be the target. Oh, not there. Disable AutoUFOs. So that would be the target, and the entry would be this guy here. Okay, 77.0. So if we enter at 77.0, which is right here, I'm just going to enter with 2 contracts. Okay, with a stop located at 78.9. Okay, so that's 9 ticks higher. So I need to move down 9 ticks lower, which is 75.1. And then my final target is going to be 73.4, which is somewhere here. Right there, 73.4. Okay, so that would be the trade. Okay, so entry, it's 1577. Stop 1578.9, which, as you can see, is right on top of this UFO as well. It's between those 2 UFOs, so the stop is in the white space. Safety target, same distance, okay, 1-to-1 distance. That would be 1575.1. Final target 1573.4. So that's the trade, and that one, it's certainly valid, even though I'm going to reassess the trade. I just place it, right? But I'm going to have to reassess this in 50 seconds because we may have a change on the average that may be too far down. I need it to be lining up with 77. Right now, it's already 76.9. So let's see what happens when the average is recalculated in 30 seconds, and we'll know if the trade is valid or not, okay? So make a note on your end. Not sure it's worth it to place the order yet, but I'm sure that you'll be able to place the order in just 20 seconds. Okay, so 5 seconds to go. You are in the 240-minute mark. Okay, so I would say just delete your cache folder, okay, and redo it again, and then we should have the same data, I would say. Okay, good. So average 1576.5. Okay, 1576.5. Current price is 74.8. It's basically a point and a half down from entry. It's going to be very tight. Okay, so this is a trade to be watched, my friends. Okay, this is a trade to be watched. 76.7 is right there. This is a trade to be watched. Okay, you could say, okay, what about I use this UFO for entry? I'm not a fan of that. Why? Because as price goes up, your average, which is already 1576.6, may exceed 1576.7, which is the top of that UFO. In other words, your average is above the UFO instead of being enveloped by the UFO. So I still need to rely on the upper UFO, but I'm just not sure when price gets up here if the average would be enveloped by the UFO at the time. At this time, it looks like the average would be just a little lower, but it may line up. So I'm going to suggest to leave it the way it is, but get your finger ready to click cancel all as you see price approach, approach. When it's very close, if you don't see this value becoming 77, then go ahead and cancel because you will not have the setup that we are looking for. Give me a second, guys. Sorry for that. Okay, I'm back. So anyway, what else do we have? We had an update of the climates. So crude oil, let me see if crude oil is giving something else to us. Same story with crude oil. We are meeting entry. The fat UFO is still fat, so we cannot do anything with crude oil. Japanese yen is flashing a golden alert, but notice the climate is not confirmed, so we cannot do anything, and gold is still showing as a valid opportunity. Okay, so gold is your trade. Again, we have to watch it. When price gets to 77, we may have to quickly cancel if the average does not show 77. If the average is showing 77, then you have a good, beautiful entry, and you should stick with the trade. Okay. Last one. I said earlier, I mentioned the euro pound, so I'm gonna have a quick look at the euro pound. This is gonna be the last trade for today because we just surpassed the time. So I just want to see if we can put together a forex trade as well, so you can have this trade. For all sort of purposes. Could be just basic practice if you're new to trading, or certainly lucrative if you are more experienced and in the process of growing your accounts. Okay, but let's see if the setup is valid or not. So we have a climb which is defined, thick dot, 2 out of 6, certainly valid entry. Average located at 85.20, which 85.20, it's not lining up with 25, which is the entry. Okay, so the euro pound not giving us an opportunity. Any other thing here? So gold still flashing, majors, everything is gray here, and that one is hopeful. Here, what do we have? Euro Swiss franc, the euro. Oh, we have an opportunity with the pound US dollar, 240-minute time frame. Let's have a quick look. It's a major, so let's move to majors. Pound US dollar. So here's the pound US dollar. Confirmed climate, 2 thick dots, 2 out of 5.16. That's fantastic. Average located at 31.18. Yeah, no green UFO until we get down here at 30.46. That would be the available UFO in the bottom part. Okay, but certainly not where the average is, which is 31.13. There is nothing here at 31.13. Okay, so the pound is not giving us the rules, not meeting our rules, I should say. Yes, and that would be it, because all those currencies here on the right we have already checked, and we got a no for an answer. Which, by the way, that's the this is what I always say, where the job of a trader is to say no more often than to say yes. Okay, so we gotta be picky. We have to be selective and make sure all the rules are met before we accept a trade to be a trade for execution purposes. Okay, so again, looking at gold, again, I'm gonna have to leave you to monitor and take action or cancel action on this one. But again, one last time, the action here would be to during the next 10 minutes, which is until the next update on the 15-minute time frame candle, 15-minute time frame, I should say, chart, you will want to monitor the price of gold. And if gold was to ever reach 1577, which is when you get filled, you want to make sure that the gray value here for the average, which is currently 1576.5, you want to make sure it is at least 77. So that way we know we have the setup we're looking for, where one more time the EMA is being enveloped by the UFO. If that's not the case, then we just pass. Okay, and we cancel the trade by clicking on the orange button, cancel all. Okay, everyone. Well, not too many options. Okay, not too many options when it comes to executing trades together in this first session of the year. As I said before we started, I was really eager to begin the year and execute many trades together, and it seems that has not been possible. But again, we have a carefree state of mind, and we basically healthily, professionally, we don't care. So we'll just keep looking at opportunities forming, and when they meet the rules, then we execute. Last question from Mark: how to clear the cache folder? Very simple. First, you close TradeStation. Okay. Once TradeStation is closed, okay, you then open your documents folder on your computer. Okay, so this PC/documents. You got TradeStation 10 there. So you just enter TradeStation 10. You have CAL. You enter CAL, and here's the cache. So you go ahead and you right-click, delete. Okay, or even better, holding the keyboard. Okay, you hold the Shift key together with the delete key on your keyboard, two keys, Shift, delete, and then instead of sending the cache folder to your trash, to your computer trash, so you are basically just fully getting rid of those files, because this folder can be of a certain size depending on how much data you got in there. I got 1.38 gigabytes, so you would need to reload all of these. Okay, or you would then later on need to clean up all that space on your hard drive when you delete. So again, I rather use Shift delete instead of right click delete, because right click delete will move the folder to your trash. Okay, but anyway, so that's how it is. And then Mark, you restart TradeStation and everything will be forced to be reloaded, and you should have everything fine. Last question here, ClevoFX. AutoUFOs gives us indicative area of the unfilled order zone on the charting software such as TradingView. Do you use a real-time order flow data? No, we don't use. I mean, it depends. Yes and no. Let me put it this way, because when using market terminology, sometimes we use the same words and we mean something different. So when you refer to real-time order flow data, let me tell you that simply does not exist. What even though I said yes, because I my interpretation of what you said is level 2 data, or the book, different brokers, different charting packages call it differently, which basically is the bid and the ask prices that are available at each time, which basically are some of the limit orders, or if you trade centralized products, the limit orders available in the market. And that is basically useless, and that's why the app looks into it, but the app doesn't use it to plot zones, because it's basically useless, since the orders that you find in the book are easily canceled and replaced, or if a large order wants to be injected in the book, it is not injected as a large order, is injected using algo and iceberg technology, meaning that they would show the tip of the iceberg, but then there are many orders coming in after that one order that you didn't know were there, right? So really the order book is kind of like a very nice tool to trick people that institutions and large market players are using all the time. So what our app does basically is to extrapolate where the unfilled orders should be out of just analyzing market data, instead of that using your own words, real-time order flow data, because again, that order flow data is changing at the speed of the light. Nowadays, large market players such as, let's say, fund managers, hedge funds, etc., they will spend a fortune co-locating their servers in the same buildings as the exchanges or the banks, so they can have their servers just a few meters away from the servers of the exchange, and therefore reduce the latency, and therefore play all sorts of games with placing orders, canceling orders faster than anyone else, including legal forms of front running and things like that. And again, what you see on such screens, okay, if I did interpret right what you meant, Clievo FX, what you see in such screen is real information, but at the same time, the intention behind that information is absolutely not real, and therefore it's basically useless. Okay, so that's why I use a pretty strong word to describe a very popular tool. Okay, but anyway, that's it. We're gonna have to conclude the session, guys. Okay, I'm eager to take my first trade of the year with you guys. Okay, but that would need to be in the next session. Next session will be tomorrow. Tomorrow will be longer term trading. So for the ones of you that are exposing yourself, to trades that are more than one day, I'll see you then tomorrow. You guys take care. Super pleasure to begin the year, and very excited for everything else to come. This year is gonna be a very powerful year. Take care, everybody. Bye bye.